My name is Alice, and I'm the founder of Touchy-Feely Tech, and we're on a mission to transform the conversation around sex education through the power of making, coding, and technology. So I'm a creative technologist and educator. I have a background in art and design, and Touchy-Feely was born out of my own experiences with learning how to code and build electronics. There weren't really any educational kits out there for people like me. I didn't really want to build a radio or a useless blinking LED thing. I kind of wanted something that was fun, intellectually engaging, and enjoyable beyond the assembly process. So I invented a DIY vibrator kit to encourage personal discovery and increase interest in STEM topics. And since then, I've been working on marrying sex education and technology through a series of unique workshops. And in our sessions, which can last anywhere between 30 minutes and 2 days, participants assemble a working piece of sex tech from a kit that we've prepared. And along the way, we teach them about electronics, coding, everything that they can imagine to be able to customize their pleasure. It makes these dry topics very easy to teach. So it might seem like an unlikely pairing at first, but the STEM gap and the orgasm gap have a lot in common. In essence, they're reinforced by the same socially determined factors, and they can be remedied by education, collaboration, and community. So why not solve them together? And in these workshops, we've opened up a safe and productive space around sexual health and pleasure. These conversations are what makes us unique. We're a sex tech company who want to turn a typically solo experience into a shared one. And during this MVP process, we've distributed 100 kits and engaged over 500 people with our digital events. We've identified a few key groups of curious, open-minded, and sex-positive people. So our early adopters are mostly women working in tech companies who want to top up their skills and network with other people. And it's been inspiring to see the broad range of other people who are really excited to join us. So we've had overwhelmingly positive and encouraging feedback so far. 9 out of 10 people rated our events as excellent. Every workshop has sold out through word of mouth, and our first one actually created an angry mob of aspirational DIY vibrator creators who missed out on tickets, unfortunately. And this has happened completely organically. We haven't spent a single euro on marketing, and people are coming to us. So the idea is banking on 3 mega trends, fitting in within the ecosystems of the experience economy, sex ed, and STEM literacy. And we first like to focus on specific territories of London, Berlin, and Amsterdam as places where there's a vibrant sex-positive scene and large clusters of our target user. And while we prepare our kit for manufacture on higher volumes, we've been running hackathons and online events to build this movement and expand our collective vision of what sex tech actually could or should be. We have a number of revenue streams in our business model, which include kit sales, ticket sales, and partnerships. So looking to the future, after solving our manufacturing, we'll train expert facilitators to run local workshops in order to spread the word. Our workshop profit margins are currently calculated at over 60%, and our business is scalable, especially if we focus on delivering a more digital experience as our community grows. So far, no marketing was involved, and I think if we market and professionalize this, I believe it can be a massively popular business. So thank you so much for your time, and I'd like to open up for any comments or questions.
Thank you, Alice. I can already feel like it's something like what we do here in Berlin as well. It's like make your own wearables, you know, like the same concept. So happy to see something happening in the sex tech division. So that's first. And now I will ask the jury members to ask questions. Please.
Great.
Hi, Alice. Thank you for your presentation. Really cool concept. It's nice to see something that's totally new. I think this blending of the 2 topics. But my question is, have you done much research into the total potential market size? Because this is pretty niche as a market, and to make it financially viable, do you know kind of how many of these workshops you would need to run, or how many attendees you need to get? Because I assume that the business model is people pay to attend the workshops, yeah?
Yes, so there's a kind of scale of different types of workshops we can offer. And our kind of cheapest workshop, the profit margins is 60%, so it's looking pretty good so far. That's definitely something that I'm looking for support on. So, you know, support on researching the total addressable market. At the moment, we're looking to focus on people who work in tech, the queer community, and women who work in tech roles, because that's been where our sort of most dedicated users have come from so far. It is a niche, but I think it's definitely, if you look in this idea of personalization and customization, you know, aside from the concept of DIY, it's kind of how you frame it. So it opens up a whole nother kind of community of people who are really interested to explore, you know, what sex tech should or could be. And I think that's where it gets really interesting for us, is kind of beyond the sort of first kind of target user, you know, how we can scale. So yeah, that's a really good question.
Do you see a revenue model where some of the things that are developed could ultimately be made available for sale for some of the community partners that you talked about? Or is this purely an exercise, educational, self-pleasure, but not necessarily broader commercialization?
Totally. So I think definitely it's kind of, think of it like Lego, but for sex toys, I suppose. So, you know, there's nothing stopping us from kind of building these brand partnerships and partnerships with other sex tech sort of creators and designers. I think that's a really interesting area, especially when you come to the sort of manufacturing end of it, which is kind of quite difficult to do, obviously, as a solo entrepreneur and a kind of startup, especially within hardware. But I definitely think that's a really interesting opportunity to kind of, you know, broadly connect with the wider sex tech industry to be able to scale, definitely.
And building on Bryony's question, do you have a sense with your current team how many kits you can make and sell and how many workshops you could effectively manage at this point?
So we recently won a small development grant, which we spent on researching the sort of design for manufacture, which brought us back some really, really positive results in terms of how many we'd need to make to reach a sort of, you know, a baseline profitable level. It was really, really optimistic. So again, I'm kind of looking for support on how to really go to market and scale on that end. But yeah, it's definitely looking promising for us.
I know we have some time pressure, but just let me share one thought that I have when I was listening to your presentation, and it somehow resonated for me in something that is educational, yes, but it's also entertaining. So it is more of an event in my imagination than a rather industry-driven toolkit approach. So I just wanted to share this thought and ask you whether you also see yourself like this, or you say, no, this is like Absolutely. A totally serious toolkit. It's thought about entertaining.
It's totally an experience, you know, and that's what was really amazing when we did our MVP in the in-person workshops. Just the kind of, it then becomes about the people who bring their experiences to that space together and sort of collaboratively, you know, have this conversation, and it's so special, and it's one of the main reasons why we kind of kept going. So it's definitely about that sort of event-based, you know, model, I think, and the kits themselves will kind of resolve the business model in terms of mass manufacturing. But yeah, it's really about those kind of spaces that we're creating, and yeah, it's been really special.
I did want to compliment you on the intersection. The first thing I wrote was customized sex toys was the new idea. And then when you showed the slide with the 3 different trends that you're on target with, quite a creative approach.
Thanks.
Yes, hello, and also warm welcome from my side. I have the honor now to announce the Sex Factor Award. And we discussed this as being kind of a joker card of giving this award to a startup that breaks the rules, show us different angles to approach the market, having out-of-the-box ideas. And so I'm very, very proud and honored to hand over the Sex Factor Award to Touchy-Feely.
Congratulations.